So some of this should be, I mean, ironic. We were born in the same system. I stumbled on these the other day, and part of what I'm driving at, I'll get to in a second, as usual. I don't know if you guys have ever seen these before, but some of you probably have already heard of Wing Chun, and I was gonna mention Capoeira as well. It's these. One second, I'm gonna migrate. And I'm showing you physical items for a second because it's also ironic, like I said. There we go. Trying to make sure I'm not showing you other stuff. Either way, just some books having to do with Wing Chun is my point with this. Some of you guys might know about that jazz too. Old hat. There's a lot of flowery bullshit associated with that too. That bleeds into some of the propaganda circles, mind you. Dynamite Joe, other things along those lines. You might know what I'm talking about. The bit I was going to show you is my mom sent me some of her old Motown records. And I'm returning that bitch over there, by the way. Pretty neat album, though, if you guys have never listened to it. The reason I'm mentioning this, I saw a post today of Vanilla Ice. I forgot his real name, Rip Van Winkle, something like that. And he was talking to that pedophile, Steve-O. I don't know if Steve-O's actually a pedophile, but he got a fucking pedophile tattoo, and there's nothing cool about that. I mean, he got it covered up, but there's nothing cool about that. I'm also getting ready, so bear with me. I'm gonna throw this together, and I lied. I gotta feed a squirrel. Square there. We'll see. We'll dump some stuff out there. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Slowly, one-handed. There we go. So Vanilla Ice, Mr. Vanilla Ice. He was talking at Steve-O, and he was telling him about how the 90s were, you know, the coolest thing under the fucking sun. And the 90s were neat. They were really neat. And the reason I showed you the Motown and what have you, I'll get to in a second. This is a horrible delivery, I know, because I want to do 15 fucking things, and I had it clear in my head a moment ago. Obviously, I'm leaving my shit everywhere, trying to find what I need. Nothing new. So what Vanilla Ice will go on to tell you, and I may just play the clip for you guys here in a second, so you know, and yeah, my floors are filthy. Yeah. Let's do this. And stare at some socks with holes in them, which I hold on to for whatever reason. Perhaps an art project. So Vanilla Ice is going to tell Steve-O, you know, the 90s were fucking neat, blah, 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 blah. Things haven't been that cool since. And what he likens it to is music, because that's what he was a part of. That's what he knows. That's what he speaks to. That's how people work. He also liked the 90s because that's when he was a big deal. If I'm not mistaken. You with me? Maybe. I mean, this is a horrible delivery. Worse than usual. Then he's going to go on and he's going to start talking about material products, and he's going to talk about how people dressed. So he's going to say, you know, mohawks were punk, big chains were Run DMC, fill in the blank. And he carries on with this. Then he starts talking about, and Steve-O doesn't know what these other things are, at least that's what it appears to be. It appears to be the case in the video. And I didn't know half of, or I mean, a couple of them is what I should say, but I did know Air Jordans. So he starts rattling off shoes that are still being sold today, and there's stuff that came out in the 90s. He does mention a good point. I mean, Jordan hasn't been playing for 30 years or something along those lines, which checks out, because I remember 91, roughly, the Bulls and all that bullshit. One second. And so he claims that, you know, these physical products that people are still selling, they can't come up with a new shoe, is what he's rattling off. And he also mentions, I think, Adidas and something else, a bunch of garbage I've never even heard of, mind you. And he challenges Steve-O, you know, because Steve-O doesn't appear to be familiar with any of this shit either. What I'm saying is this is a bunch of materialistic shit, which is part of what the trap was. So let's think about religion for a minute. That's social control. Yeah. And then you got social engineering trends. That's social engineering. These things work together. You know, they're controlling our mind or our spirit. And the same thing, they're controlling our mind, which controls our spirit. It's similar tactics, to say the very least. You're sold, what is it? With religion, you're sold a paradigm where you're supposed to abide by certain things and believe in certain things, blah, 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 blah. And that's, you know, within. Then you got the physical aspect where you're told you need to dress this way and act this way. These are the mores and folkways in terms of trends, where you're being trained to conduct yourself in a particular way without. You don't hear people bring it up because most people bought into religion and or societal bullshit. How many of you use emojis? I use that example all the fucking time. I'm also grappling with something. I'm trying to figure out if I have to put on a different shirt that has no sleeves on it, because yesterday was like a summer day here, and I don't want to get trapped once I bail out of the house. So that's the other thing I'm trying to figure out. I'm just going to bring... fuck. Sorry, too many thoughts, you guys. Back to point. So I was talking about religion, and I was talking about trends. And most people buy into them. They don't look into them. They don't challenge them. They march in lockstep, etc., etc. Part of what I'm driving at is... music as a whole has also been manipulated in a number of ways because it promotes social engineering trends. But Mr. Vanilla Ice was reinforcing that and the materialistic schlock, you know, the shit. Maybe not schlock. Sorry, and I'm still grappling with this other stuff that I'm not quite sure about. I'm trying to make sure I got all the things I need to take with me, which I don't because I have to put them in that thing. All right. I know. Some of you would probably say, well, just fucking record a video when you're not doing these other things. I got a lot of other stuff in my head that needs... I got a lot of stuff in my head which needs to be exercised, for the lack of better words. And so I need to get this video out of me so I can knock out some other things that I have planned. And if I don't, I'm just going to keep spinning my wheels about this, which is a fucking problem. I'm also juggling 3 notebooks at the moment, which pisses me off because I'm so backlogged with everything else. It's a part of what I was going to bring up, having to do with... Let's do the kung fu aspect of it, you know, the gung fu. I was thinking of Wing Chun in particular because that really appealed to me because of capturing center line, street fighting. So much of it's upper torso. I mean, there are some kicks and there's some grappling, barely. But it appealed to me because I'm not as agile in my youthful days or now. So it appealed to me. And if you look into where it allegedly came from, it's predominantly a female martial art that evolved to combat invading people. You could look up the finer details, and I could also probably spit them out better, but I didn't. But it came out of necessity. It came out of something that people were passionate about. It came about, as far as I'm aware, naturally is the bigger point. The same applies to capoeira, which I never say right. You know, the dancing, this, that, and the other thing that supposedly you weren't allowed to, practice martial arts because then you could rise up against the people who were enslaving you at the time. So it came about as a dance form. It looked like break dancing, you know, for the lack of better words, and then some. And some of you guys know what I'm talking about. But once again, it came out of necessity and it served a purpose. So you see some of these things, aspects of it, in the music industry, which is why I mentioned Motown. I'll tell a lot of kids who are listening to disharmonious, absolute trash, have you ever, run through anything having to do with Motown? Listen to it. It's leaps and bounds, above the garbage that you're, shopping around and urging others to normalize. It's not all fucking fantastic. And it's a lot of it, most of it probably, if I'm not mistaken, ran through a filter and was, manipulated as well. But aspects of it came out of necessity. The same with, I mean, I'll tell people too. I mean, early punk, this, that, and the other thing. Not all of it, and I mean, it didn't last long. And every now and again, you'll get, pieces, in terms of music in general, where somebody will actually say something that will resonate with you because it means something, and it's not all of this other materialistic, manipulated dog shit, which is the overall point to this message, which most people probably didn't get, this is a horrible fucking delivery, and then some. And I'm trying to parallel one too many thoughts. You see things like what they were shopping around having to do with Vanilla Ice and Steve-O, which is quite literally misleading people in a number of ways. Reinforcing the materialistic shit without giving people disclaimers, without pointing out some of these other, the finer aspects, which I lacked any and all grace, to deliver to you today. And it's important because people aren't thinking at all. They're just digesting what they're spoon-fed and regurgitating it. People are going to click repost on that. I clicked like on it, which I'm bothered by still. I logged out of Instagram and I am bothered that I clicked, the like button on there. Why? I try not to support shit. I try not to do that. And it is misleading in a number of ways. The other bit that I was thinking about, I used to work in a meat department with a guy, and this has to do with Vanilla Ice saying that he thought the 90s were, the top of the food chain, super fucking awesome, the last fucking, decade where cultural, this, that, and the other thing came about and was, remotely original. And so I used to work in a meat department with a really sweet fucking guy. Sidebar, I also think this guy that I worked with, he and his family, they won some money. I don't know if he won the biggest lottery ever, but I'm so fucking thrilled that he did. I think that's just so fucking neat. But he grew up in his prime was the 80s. And so he would talk about the 80s as much in the same way as Vanilla Ice was talking about the 90s, is my point to that. And I'm pretty sure anybody who, had the best experience possible during a certain decade would probably praise that decade, just like older generations usually will bash newer generations. That newfangled this, that, and the other thing. And that's always been the case. It's another thing you need to think in terms of. But you also need to look around and truly widen your gaze. We are being manipulated at such a rate that it should make your head spin, and most people don't see it at all. Most people are catering to it, and that's why things are, rapidly deteriorating, for lack of better words. On that note, I'm going to show you a rainbow. nudge, nudge, something, something. That's part of it. The flip side of that's also the problem. And people not finding the middle ground is absolutely fucking ironic. Again, I know I said ironic more than once in this video. I need to get the fuck out the door. And if you sat through this, I appreciate you sitting through this. You could parallel the things that I poorly rattled off in this video and make sense of it if you use your brain. That's why I clicked record and to get it out of my head. Thanks for hanging out.